Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener. All right, guys. We are here. My name is Vin.
I'm Sori.
As you saw in the commercial.
We are doing the stream for
Yes.
the Agents of Forgotten Souls. How sad. I have a... Oh, I didn't know if you wanted a little thing for the corner that I picked out for them. Anyway.
Yeah, this was a graphic that we were told to use. What is it? Is it like Tesla? It looks like it's Nikola
That's the
Tesla.
graphic that was... Wait a minute. But is that the graphic for all of them, or was that just the graphic for, like, one person's? Oh,
That's the one that we're
told to use. Yeah,
I think that's got to be Tesla, right? Middle Earth, is that Tesla?
Looks it to me.
I'll ask Middle Earth. Oh, you're a fan of Tesla? I didn't know you were watching. You were into that stuff.
Just from what I've seen.
The name of the song, the name of the band is Bethlehem. The name of the song is Supplementary Exegesis. Now, that's really, really interesting. I'll tell you why.
So they have a little write-up here.
On the other side.
Bethlehem song from a demo. You want to read that? Should we read that after?
Yeah, no. Go ahead. Do it now.
Bethlehem song from a demo which got the band banned from playing in some German cities after the guitarist gave the demo, of which the song is taken from, to a 14-year-old boy. His mother called the band and said that because of their music, he became aggressive and built a satanic altar in his room. And in cooperation with other parents, they started a crusade against Bethlehem and their satanic music. Ironically, Bethlehem was never satanic. The specific song is taken from that demo. Bethlehem is my favorite band, and the band's sound has shifted for every album. They switched vocalists for every album until 2016.
Really? All right, Bethlehem, Supplementary Exegesis, let's go. You know if this is a lyric video?
Don't know.
Interesting. The bass. And now it's sped up, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa. Damn, this is just a demo? I need more Sori corpse paint. My man Casco.
Tina's stream is I'm gonna have corpse paint on for.
You shouldn't have revealed it. You should have told them to stay tuned.
Well, no, if people want that on their stream, they have to specify.
It's extra though for that stuff, guys. So it's not a regular thing. It's not a regular thing.
It is extra, but some people they say it's worth it. Anyway, it's so funny because Jesse, you typed your message and then Vinny was posting it up on the screen, but I wasn't looking at the screen he was on. I was looking at my own screen and I was typing back to you as he was putting it up. We both noticed that. We both agreed with that. Yes.
Jesse,
like to brood in the dark room with the candles.
Yeah.
Yes. Very much yes.
Well, yeah, but I was more pointing out how jacked this man is right now. Oh, holy smokes.
That's not... Well, we were not pointing out the same thing.
I was like, yo, look at this dude.
I didn't even see his picture. I read his name.
Jesse.
Yeah, all I see is 3 dots. I think I need glasses.
Yeah. He, I don't know if he changed. I don't know if he changed
really
his thingamajiggy, but the picture I saw was jacked.
Oh, and your picture's bigger. Anyway, let's get back to the review. This is not about Jesse's muscles.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Jesse's muscles.
Yes. Shout out. Okay. So we just finished listening to Bethlehem Supplementary Exegesis, but this one was for the big homie John. I think Bersila must have meant something else because I see over here it says it was for John. So John, here's your review. Yeah, okay.
Well,
I think
he didn't want his government name shouted out like that.
No. He put it just this. John.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're gonna know who he is now. We said John.
Yeah, John.
I mean, what in the world?
John and this European dude named Rob are my contacts. So yes, Sean. Middle is in on this. Okay, so go ahead.
Well, one thing that I noticed was I think if I didn't have the lyrics, which the moms probably didn't, and they only heard the sound of the music, I would have thought the same thing years ago. If my kid was listening to that music, I couldn't tell where
the lyrics are.
I had the friggin' lyrics right in front of me, and I still couldn't figure out where he was in the song. So I don't think that moms could understand, and it just sounds.
The lyrics were massively satanic.
Well, they're very. We'll say they were very nihilistic.
Yeah.
Nihilistic.
Well, I think a biblical argument could be made that Proverbs argues
that nihilism is
when Proverbs says, when Lady Wisdom in Proverbs says, "Those who hate me love death."
Yeah.
From that regard, I would say, okay, that's probably what's going on there. You know what I'm saying? Quarantining made me hit the gym pretty hard. Yeah, look at this thing, bro. Look at that shit.
What?
That's Jesse.
Oh my God.
He's on that shit, bro.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, so John, this is your song. First of all, shout out to John for selecting a song that was a demo. That was a demo of the band. This wasn't them with their full...
Oh, this was on the demo or it was the demo?
This was the demo. It's like what we have. Like we have our thing right now that we could release, but I'm not going to.
This says it was on the demo. That's what he said.
Yeah.
There was like multiple songs
that's what
this degree on a demo?
Yeah. So back in the day when you didn't have, iTunes or YouTube, you had to get picked up by a major label. Mm-hmm. So guys would do, they have what's called a demo, and then you'd pass it out.
People must have been passing out so many. Well, we went to a concert and somebody gave us a demo.
Oh yeah. Somebody gave us.
But there must have been way more of that going on before YouTube.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a big thing. I mean, when I was growing up, in New York City, that was a big thing, getting a record deal, and everybody was talking about their demo.
Yeah.
And it was all BS because you had to pay for studio time. None of us even knew where the studios were. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, it was just pipe dreaming.
Well, I was hoping that somebody was going to show up and take you guys on, right? And then you wouldn't even have to worry. Then you'd find out where the studio was and all that.
Well, you had to make a demo first.
Yeah.
So you had to make a demo in the studio. You couldn't do it from home.
Oh, I guess I was thinking people had like small equipment like we
No. That's not how it was in school. You didn't have shit. We didn't, because you didn't have any of these programs.
This is where I'm doing what I was doing before. Yeah. My mom had some of those things to do recording.
Yeah,
when I was a kid.
Correct.
Yes, and I was
not dudes in the.
I was putting that to everyone in the world, babe.
Soraya thinks everybody grew up like her. So This was so it was, your demo is just you and your friends, and basically you're hoping the producer or the record label guy gets the concept and says, okay, conceptually this is good. It's kind of like when I'm doing and I go, oh, this is going to be hard as hell. Mm-hmm. I know it's going to be hard as hell just conceptually, but it doesn't sound that way. It just sounds like strings because it's not plugged into an amp.
Not over the computer, please, honey. Pass it to your dad. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Give me a Pepsi, por favor. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty expensive studios for sure. And they don't have a lot of production and all the rest of it. Now, today is unbelievable because Vaughn, all those guys, they all started on SoundCloud. Yeah, you just put a track on SoundCloud. There's this one kid, I forgot his name. He did one song, put it out on YouTube.
Then that was it for him,
And there was a guy who was reviewing videos that had 0 views. And so they did it, and the kid, he played it, and then the thing went viral. Kid got a record deal. All that.
That's great. I really like that. I love it when people can make it through it.
So the point is, your demo is not your demo is not your best work. I mean, it's you at your rawest, and you're just hoping that the producer says, okay, I see what you guys are doing here.
Right.
So, and usually the demo, like if you listen to the demo of Blind, there's a demo version of Blind on YouTube versus the act. We should probably do a week of that, once we get caught up, like looking at demos, like before they were famous or something. That would be fun, yeah. But if you look at it, their demos, I mean, the Blind demo had that signature riff, but then the rest of it, like the progression is very, very different. And Ross basically stripped it down. I'd be curious
to see that.
So, anyway, we spent way too much time on that. The second thing is, the name of the song is Supplementary Exegesis, which is really interesting. Did you get, by the time you got to the end of the song, what was your perspective of why he called it Supplementary Exegesis?
Oh, I just got that he pulled out, like, there's an exegesis, like there's an actual breakdown of what something is, but a supplementary is something else other than, and so it was his breakdown of how things were, and he was obviously a nihilist. That's what I got from it.
Yeah. So exegesis is usually used in theological terms, theological context, especially the context that we were
came up in.
That we came out. Well, we didn't come up in this context. Exegesis is a more reformed thing. It's not a Pentecostal thing.
Oh, well, they talked about it in our circles.
And Pastor Kugel was talking about exegesis?
He did sometimes.
I'd be very surprised. Okay.
But it wasn't something like, oh.
I don't need that. I'm good.
Thank you. I didn't time that well. You can just cover it and leave it in our rooms. Thank you very much. Very sweet of you.
Jazakallah. So go ahead. What were you saying?
It was not something that he brought up very often. I probably only heard him say it like once or twice, if that. See. So, yeah, it was not like a big major theme. They talked about it more in my college, but, anyway. Carry on, Vin.
Yeah, so, hey, shout out to Goth Mom. This song is all about is all about the struggles of upcoming musicians. I don't think it is.
Maybe he's teasing.
I think he's teasing. He's saying, why are you spending so much time on that dumb topic? Okay. So, supplementary exegesis. So, exegesis means to draw out of, basically. Right? So, X, like exit, is to draw. It's to get your thesis by drawing out of the text. Mm-hmm. So, you get your ideas from the text. Eisegesis is when what you're interpreting from the text is coming from you. So, you're not pulling the interpretation from the text. You're coming with your own preconceived notion and then reading that into the text. So that's eisegesis. I've been known
to do that.
Well, everybody's done it. Anybody who's ever read a Bible has committed exegesis and eisegesis. Right? Like it's just but in Christian circles, exegesis has become shorthand for I have the right interpretation. Right? Especially in Reformed circles. In Reformed circles, when you say James White's exegesis of Romans 9 was great, blah, 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 what they're saying is they agree with James White's interpretation of Romans. If you're arguing with a Christian and the Christian is putting out a text that he's the Christian, like for example, if the Christian says Sodom and Gomorrah proves that God is hates gay people, then you could say, okay, that's a form of eisegesis.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because homosexuality is not mentioned in Sodom and Gomorrah story, and it is not mentioned either when Ezekiel remembers it hundreds of years later. Something is remembered and spoken about in detail. For some reason, evangelicals can't find those passages. But the way the majority report for a lot of Christians in regard to the Sodom and Gomorrah episode is an example of eisegesis. They go, see, they were gay, all this other stuff, and God was just completely horrified by them being gay and all the rest of it, and so God went and killed all those people because they were gay. That's eisegesis. You hate gay people. Well, I don't say you hate gay people, but you come from a church or whatever that all your life you've been told gay people are horrible, and then you read the Sodom and Gomorrah story, and it creates all that confirmation bias, whatever. It's extremely dangerous, and that's why it's important. What I will say about our last, tradition that we're a part of, and I think theologically we haven't moved from any of the tenets of Reformed theology. We're just the culture is in my mind irredeemable.
It's completely different. Yeah,
I think Reformed culture is irredeemable. But at least the modern American iteration of it. But like you normally only hear the term exegesis in that very specific context in the modern era.
Yeah.
What I will say about brands of
Did they ever use that when you were in your advanced lit class?
Exegesis? No.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead.
That's because I think with art, there isn't just one interpretation. With art, the artist means for you to eisegete. Right? So, if I'm writing a song, I'm doing a song, I want people to read their... into the... I mean, that's all we're doing is eisegesis here. What we're doing is actually a form of exegesis because we're looking at the lyrics. And honestly, being part of that tradition is one of the reasons we have the channel. It's because you're constantly trained. I was the last 15 years of my life. Anytime I saw literature, you're immediately going into breakdown mode, and you want to make sure that you get it right, and you want to make sure you can see connections in the top and the bottom and the middle and all the rest of it. And that's what I do with this with lyrics is what I've been doing with the Bible for the last 15 years. So it's a really interesting thing. So when I hear supplementary exegesis, what I'm hearing from this guy is I'm going to give an alternate interpretation of how we should live. That's how I interpret it. So he's
I don't want your way.
He's got a different interpretation of the Bible or of life. That he believes is better than the majority report for religion. So I took the term supplementary exegesis to mean, hey, I've got a different interpretation and a different set of ideas that leads to a different conclusion. And these guys are translated words, right? The shriek blockaded machinery tears me away in this very moment. Deep dark night embraces me like a casket. Holy moly. Black rain cauterizes the protecting surface. It's not only one which fulfills me with fear. There are lots of like a mask. So again, this right here would be where I'm assuming that the language barrier comes in.
I thought it was in English, and it was so different I couldn't understand
this
it. This band
is, I don't think they're Swedish, but this is a translated thing.
Okay. All right. Well.
Like a cadaverous fire. Wow, this guy can write his ass off, though. Holy shit. There are lots
Mine says
of
like cadaverous fire.
Masks for each situation, another countenance. So
yes, very true. True.
Well, okay, develop that because I didn't really see. It's not as obvious to me as it apparently see. What's
there are lots of masks for each situations. For each situation, another countenance. To me, that just meant that for every situation, people have a different mask that they're going to wear, that they're going to show the world, what they're going to show the people around them. So, you were just listening to that thing where people were, they were kind of, sounded to me like they were criticizing those people for putting too much of their personal life out on social media.
Yeah.
So to them, they wouldn't put on that much of a transparent mask as those other people are doing. When you go to the store, you might have a certain mask that you put on, a different mask than when you go to a metal show. Different from when you go to a family reunion, from when you show up to somebody's funeral or somebody's wedding at a church. You have all kinds of different masks, and for every situation, there's different ones that you can use, and you choose what you're going to bring out. So I agreed with that. For each situation, another countenance. So your attitude could be completely different, because some people that have seen you in certain contexts would not know that you are capable of doing things in another context.
That's true.
So, and I think that that's true for lots of people. You know, I think that a lot of times we're like that with our parents. You know, there's probably stuff about, you know, especially when you're at a certain age where your parents don't know, you know, the person that we were just seeing, like, it's clear that either the parents have their head in the sand as to where their child is at, or they just put on a really good face. I don't know. Remember that person that we were talking about? And you were like, are we talking about the same person? It doesn't matter. We'll talk later.
On the video?
No, it was not on video.
Then I have no idea who you're talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be a juicy one. Go ahead, continue.
Anyway, so yeah, so I agree with that. I can't see the course any longer. Death is no expectation. Death
He
is
probably
no
is just
expectation?
saying he expects to just death. Again, remember, we've got a translation issue.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what did you think about that mask part? Why did you not see it?
Well, I
that way?
think.
What do you think it's saying?
Religious people are famous for being not the most genuine, you know, yada yada yada.
I mean, a lot of people are famous for that.
mean,
Like, I know that Christians are famous for that, but don't you feel that there's lots of places that you can go? Everybody's fake almost everywhere you go. It's not like the cashier. Well, no, sometimes the cashier is very real.
No, but I get what you're saying.
At least the waitress, because she wants a decent tip, is going to have to put on a face. You know, nobody wants to know her bad mood when they're going out to eat.
Well, yeah, that's
Except
why.
for you.
Like,
You probably do.
People, yeah, I mean, I would want to know.
I'm like,
You know
I
what
don't
I mean?
know. It depends. Like, if you're
I'm
in real,
pretty sure most
if you're in real
people-
trouble, fine. But if it's just you're having a bad day like the rest of us, no, I don't want to talk about that over my dinner. Out.
Don't talk to Soraya if you had a bad day, lady. Just serve us our food.
Right.
Serve me, human. So, yeah. Look, I when I think about the mask thing, you know, I'm not really sure. You know, I took a course one time, training course on how to pretend to be somebody else while you're yourself. So, like, you don't want to come out and say you were like an astronaut, because then people are going to be like, "Oh, what's it like?" And you know, I had a guy. He said he was a Navy SEAL. I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Wow, man! Like, damn, dude! Like, you guys are blah blah blah." And I was like, "We, you know, because we still look up to y'all, blah blah blah. You know, you guys are, you know, legendary, yada yada yada." Well, I had a guy next to me, and I knew for a fact he was a SEAL.
And he didn't say anything.
My buddy says to his other friend, he said, "Yeah, what's your O2 tolerance?" I had no idea what the dude was talking about. So he looked at the guy and said, "What's your O2 tolerance?"
He was lying.
And the guy had no freaking clue what the dude was talking about. I mean, I had no idea what the guy was talking about.
That is so
And,
embarrassing.
you know, I should have known a little bit more than this guy. The guy had no clue.
Oh no.
So my friend, he spent the night in jail.
He spent the night in jail?
True story. Spent the night in jail.
Which one? The one that asked the question?
No, the guy that said
The one that
guy
lied.
asked about the O2 tolerance. He said, "What's your O2 tolerance?"
Yeah, he did?
The guy started hemming and hawing, and that was it. And I went to and he looked at me. He said, "Don't." He said, "Don't." I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll get you an ambulance, man. I'll do that for you." I'll do that shit, nigga. Ah!
Oh my god.
But anyway, masks. So there's like this thing about masks, right? Like, oh, you're not being a genuine person. And when I was in New York City, I had my ex. We were in New York City, and we were, metalheads running around, with nail polish, all this shit. So obviously people were going to make fun of us. You got a corn shirt on, you got nail polish, you're in the Bronx, what's going on with you?
And, it was hard, but she couldn't just walk past it. She couldn't walk past it. She had to say something. And the point is, our lives would have been so much easier if we would have just wore those masks. So I grew up my entire life judging people who wore masks instead of judging the society that creates a necessity for a mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, so you can judge the gay kid. Oh, you weren't being honest. And, I've seen a lot of these, like, this person's gay, but they're not coming out. They're horrible. Look at all the people they could help. They should come out. Anderson Cooper was under a lot of that pressure. And my thing is, okay, yeah, that's part of it, but shouldn't the conversation more be about the people who are creating a situation where individuals have to choose to mask themselves so as to not get ostracized, made fun of, be accepted, yada yada? Why are we always going after the person wearing the mask instead of the situation that created the mask? So he's talking about, it's not only one which fills me with fear, there are a lot of masks as well. So I think what he's saying is the only effect that religion has had on him was to turn him into a fearful person who is not genuine. For each situation, another countenance, yada yada yada. Like cadaverous fire overcasts my being. So I think this is a guy who is actually heavy into religion, actually, because it subsumed his entire being. It looks like in verse at the top of verse 1 or 2 there. So it's a way for him to talk about his experience with religion, which I'm assuming is Christianity. I can't see the course any longer. Death is no expectation. Truth is broken in mediocrity and in their repeated rituals. I get the...
Yeah, that was the one I wanted to know what he meant. Truth is broken in mediocrity?
Yeah. Well, again, there's a lot of translational issues. So I don't know, but truth is broken because the church claims that we have the ultimate and exclusive source of truth, which is what we claim.
Okay.
And on top of that, and then there's repeated dead rituals, I'm assuming is what he's saying. So what he's saying is, I can't see the course any longer.
Yeah, I wonder if what he's saying is the mediocrity or the repetitive nature, because he talks about the repetitive rituals and the way that churches run their services. And I'm talking about traditional churches. Traditional churches, you know what time they're going to be doing worship. You know from basically what time they switch from worship to the message.
That is, even the most like progressive churches, they still are massively structured that way.
Right. Yeah. And maybe he means that you kind of miss the authenticity of the thing when you plan it to death. That. And because we've been in circumstances where time was not what determined when we moved from one subject to the next. Mm-hmm. So, and that made a completely different religious experience. It was totally different.
Really? Weren't you a little bit uncomfortable with it at the beginning?
I don't think so. If I was, I don't think uncomfortable, no. I think my only hesitation is I don't like sitting in long services that are boring. Yeah. And so if you're going to put,
JB up there.
I wasn't going to say the initials because my heart wasn't right.
Well, the thing about that church at the time, though, was you really didn't know what it was going to be.
No, but some people, in my opinion, were very predictable.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have that.
So if it's going to be boring,
Friday nights. That's when they did church. But like,
so if it's going to be boring, I don't want to go long.
But you legit didn't know week over week what was going to happen.
No, you didn't, and you don't know who was going to speak or who was going to show up.
Yeah, you didn't know who was going to speak, what they were going to say,
and there was always something interesting.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in the church, and we would come home and we would talk to our cousins, and we'd say, "How was your church?" "Oh, it was amazing." "Oh, really? How was your church?" "Oh, it was great." And we would always just say these. I remember when I hit a point where I was like, it was kind of boring today, and you could tell that they were like, "Don't say that."
That shit's boring as hell, bro.
Not my parents. My parents didn't care if I said that. It was my cousins were like, "Blah." So I think
You're not sinning. You're sinning for making God boring.
there.
Shout out to the homie.
So
It's
with
true, though.
this
How
one,
can
it
you
was,
make God boring?
yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, some do.
You got to be really, really bad.
Right.
Some people are really gifted at just sucking all the life out of the Bible. Holy moly. Go ahead.
So yeah, that's all I would say on that. So I would have that would have been my only thing. Like I don't want to be stuck on some boring part of this, and we're just going on and on because there's no, somebody's ego's keeping them up there talking too long. The spirit has moved, friend. Get down off the stage.
Spirit's like, yo, I'm out of here, bro.
Yeah, I out. Me
This
out.
nigga's talking too much, bro. I
Yeah.
gotta go. Let me hang out.
Hey, honey, I think that this is. Yeah, it is. What's this supposed to be on? Is it supposed to be the heart?
Cardio, yeah.
Okay. Woo, that's better. Ooh, that's some really weird noises.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully that's better for you guys.
And then he talks about he gets a crushing perception of his own insignificance. And
Yeah.
the Moroccan angel offers me an occult smile, but I only see the mourning and the disassociation in its eyes. That's a marble angel. Why couldn't you just say marble, bro?
Because
But
that
we'll go
sounds
with
so
it.
much better.
It offers him an occult smile, but he only sees the mourning and the disassociation in its eyes. That is a smart
Yeah,
line.
it really is.
That's a smart line, bro. Because he's in a church and there's this marble angel, and then it's got this smile on it, but it's mourning simultaneously, and it's struggling with the same disassociation that he is. He's obviously, incarnating himself into that angel. Just a very brilliant form of projection, which usually projection is bad when you project what you're dealing with onto another person, but he's projecting that into
A statue.
Yeah. Which is pretty powerful stuff. Really powerful stuff. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
The disassociation part.
Give me 2 seconds. I will answer that question, Terminator, after this clip, because actually there is a rapper I want to talk about. Actually, go ahead.
This idea that he's looking at the statue and trying to we've talked about this before, that there are some versions of religion that even though there is truth in what they're saying, there isn't enough truth in what they're saying, and there's enough faults there to cause so much damage and wreak so much havoc that people cannot stay in that environment. And so the very spiritual ones will leave that environment, and the other people that stay in that toxic environment are judging them for leaving. Oh, well, they were never part of us. Oh, they're not part of whatever. But and sometimes we've seen people go way the other way and jump as far away from religion as they can and go into Satanism or whatever, like as far as in their mind they could get from the religion that they once were a part of. And it's their way of still connecting with the spiritual and recognizing that there is something deeply spiritual about them, but they just have to reject the thing before. Obviously, they not to stay in that place. I think that God will move that person forward into other places. But for now, there are seasons for everything. And I think, obviously, to me, this person sounds so genuine in the way that they're talking about it. It's not just thinking that it's over, it's dead, it's nothing, but it seems like there's some longing to, why look into the eyes of the smile? Why look into the smile in the eyes of the angels? You know what I'm saying? Why even take the time to do that if it means nothing to you?
But on a real practical level, I do think some of this has to do with just bad. There used to be this YouTube channel called Jesus Needs New PR.
Oh God!
And it was that, and then there was also one called the Church Curmudgeon or something like that. And it was really, really good stuff. It was about Jesus needing new PR. Like, you guys are making this Christianity stuff. How do we go from this dude is the life of the party, all the bad people like him, all the religious people want to kill him, to the Jesus that we have now is a Jesus that all the religious people like, and the bad people don't want to kill him, but we've convinced them that he wants to kill them.
Yeah,
when he died for them.
The religious people don't like him either, though. They don't like when they know what he actually says. They don't want anything to do with it.
What I'm saying is,
I see your point.
I believe that Jesus personality is irresistible.
Yeah.
And so you have to do double and triple time
To make him a bad...
to reject him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are doing that work for them because I see it all the time. Because you guys have been around us for a couple of years, so you see that I'm far from. But there have been so many times people like, well, if I got the Christianity that you guys have, then I'd be a Christian. Mm-hmm. It's like, so they're able. Jesus is so good that people can sift through all the shit of me and say, yeah, that Vin guy, fuck him, but his Jesus is cool though. And how the hell?
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. People
Yeah.
should look at you and say, you're a fucking loser. But they're supposed to look at Jesus and go, but he's okay. If you were more like him, things would be okay. That's how it's supposed to go.
Well, I
That's how Christians used to be criticized. But now our Jesus is condemning everybody. It's condemning everybody, and all the people that Jesus condemned gets a pass, and all the people that Jesus gave a pass get condemned in New Christianity.
And he allows them to have their guns.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Them. One thing too. Shoot. Ooh. I just got distracted because I heard a child weeping in the other room. He must have woken up. Needs his pacifier. Shoot. Go ahead. Carry on. I don't remember what I was going to say about that. We were talking about the Jesus. Oh, Charles Templeton. I've brought this up before. I'm usually not very good at remembering names, especially first and last names, but this one stuck out to me so much. So he used to tour around with Billy Graham, who was
Charles Templeton.
I think a lot of people know who Billy Graham is.
Yeah.
Billy Graham is.
Was.
But anyway, he used to tour around with him, and then he went through like a crisis of faith. He was on a plane, and I think he was looking through a magazine. It was, I think, one of the National Geographic ones.
Yeah,
but
it must have been, yeah.
I don't remember which magazine it was, but it was a woman, and she was holding her child, and her child had died, and because it was a drought. And so that was like where he started really having like a crisis of faith. And he was like, okay, if all this woman needed was rain and God didn't give her rain, rather he let that child die, then he said, I can't, he rejected it. He just had to reject it because it was too much. How can a good God be a part of such horrible evil when all the woman needed was rain? And then that started him on like this, like he went completely away. And I'm pretty sure at the end he was he agnostic or was he an atheist? I'm not clear.
He said he when you're about to die, all those labels. He said he missed Jesus. So
that's what I was getting to.
Yeah, right before he died.
The punchline there. So this interviewer came up to talk to him. He was a journalist, and he was actually trying to disprove Jesus. So he was trying to go through all the the legalities of how you could disprove it as much as he could. And so talking to Charles Templeton was one of the things he wanted to do. And he said basically he seemed kind of pretty hostile toward everything throughout the interview. But when he got to the point of Jesus, he got a little emotional, and he said, like, Jesus, though, I miss him. And, and that was a very sad part to me because Jesus is a friend.
Yeah, you always that always made you sad, but that actually is the brightest spot in the entire story for me.
Well, it gives you hope. It does.
Gone. Well,
yes.
I am completely convinced that he's with Jesus.
Yeah, it was
I'll tell you this. This is a shocker. I would not be surprised to see him up there, but I would be surprised to see Billy up there.
Yes, yeah.
That's for a different episode. But Jambi in the house.
I kind of see where you're coming with that one. But
the
reason it was sad to me was because regardless, if he died and then he made his, let's say that him and God made their peace, you know what I mean? He made his peace with God and, but he spent his whole life in misery.
He never came out and said he made peace with God.
No. I'm saying if. I said if.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
I said if he did, and if that is the greatest part of the story, but he still lived out his life here without Jesus.
I don't think he lived his life without Jesus. I don't think anybody on this sense. I don't think anybody on this earth lives their life without Jesus. What I think happened to him though,
in a technical sense, but he didn't have that day in day out.
You got in a fight with your best friend.
Yep.
And you never really took the time to circle back. Because I know what he was going through, because I did the same thing in high school. I was trying my hardest. I was telling everybody God doesn't exist, blah, 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 the entire time. Like, he was realer to me than my best friend. I mean, there are times I audibly said on the train, "Leave me alone." And some people are going to be like, "Oh, that's because you have a mental issue," which I do. I'm not the most mentally stable individual on the planet. So do what you will with that, dear listener. But the reason when he said I miss Jesus, I said, "Oh, okay." So he was in a relationship with him the whole time, and he talked to him. I'm certain of that, because only true believers say stuff like, I've seen other people like leave the faith, and you could tell it was just an academic thing. Like it was, oh, I just couldn't do anything. But like this dude had an authentic relationship with a person, and he missed that person. And so I don't worry about him, even though he never came and made a dramatic.
No, I don't worry about him either. I just think about
reconversion story.
Yeah, I don't worry about him either. But I just think he spent a long time like not having that close fellowship, friendship.
Right. That is that is tragic. That is massively tragic.
And that's what makes me sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't get that time back.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So.
Right. I
agree.
It
seemed to me that his life became extremely difficult and burdened. He was burdened down.
He was a very sensitive guy.
Yeah.
Like, when I hear that story, sometimes I'm like, how come other people are not pushed into a crisis situation? Like when I talk to Ian, he says, you know, if your God was so good, how could all this violence and all this horrible, like that? That makes sense to me. The idea that there are Christians, and I know there are millions of them, and I think it's probably it's a supernatural gift or whatever. But the idea that there are Christians that can look at everything in the world and say, yeah, everything's cool. We get, like, yeah, there's a God. Yeah, like no doubts at all, never. Mm-hmm. Not even a questioning of his justice. I can tell you when I was a kid and when it was like wipe out those Canaanites, I was like, man. I mean, I don't feel. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what's supposed to happen. But I was like, yo, that's pretty gnarly, bro.
Yeah,
like maybe you could take a time out and chill out, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but
I was like, well, they were bad.
Yeah, but it's amazing to me that people can see those National Geographic things, or even look at what's going on with COVID or what's going on overseas, and they never have a doubt. I heard somebody say one time, "Oh, my sister's like that, and I'm jealous of her." I'm not jealous of that kind of Christianity. Like, I think it's real. I think it's authentic. I think there's millions of Christians that have never had those doubts. But me personally, anytime I've had like a real doubt, and I looked it straight in the face, and I went after it, it's always resulted in me being so much closer to God than before. So for me, like, doubt and all those other things are part of the fun of the religion. Unfortunately for me, as I've gone on, I've had less and less. Well, I think that's probably a good thing. I have less and less doubts. I'm sure if I sat down and I thought really hard. No, we're good.
I thought the stream just shut down. It was like, here, new versions available.
Yeah, I think if I thought really hard, I could come up with a couple doubts. But like, as far as like, I know for a fact there's lots of Christians that have a lot of cognitive dissonance, but will not admit it because it's not good for the whatever.
Yep.
But yeah. All right, I give this a. Okay, this was a demo, so you got to understand the quality aspect from that angle. I
forgot about that.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm going to give this song a 8.8.
Okay, this is not my style of music. I'm not into this. If I did want to brood in negativity, then I would absolutely want to listen to this. But I don't think that would be healthy for me. Like, when I feel particularly depressed or dark, listening to something like this, honestly, I would probably do something really horrible or stupid. Mm-hmm. So I would not put myself in that situation. But if I was the type of person to listen to this type of music when I was in that situation, this would be a very good song for that.
Good in what sense?
Good in the sense of it accomplishes the negative feeling vibes that you want to. But I'm saying, for me personally, this is too it was too like drippy heavy for me if I was already feeling some sort of off way.
Yes.
So no,
yes.
for me, this is not my type of music. It wouldn't even be healthy for me to listen to stuff like this for extended periods of time. It would, I think it would really negatively affect me psychologically, because it's just too much for me.
I agree.
But I do think, holy shit, this was a demo. So this was like at the beginning of all their stuff. They didn't even really have the equipment and like they were probably new going to the studio and stuff. So I really actually have to give this a pretty high score. I'm going to go with a 9.3 because I think that they deserve it. So there you go, John.
Whoa.
9.3 for Sori. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to make this my playlist. This one does not make my playlist.
Dustin Butson, if you guys like metal with complex time changes and seamless live performance, check out Iced Earth, Pure Evil from Alive in Athens. We will.
Pure Evil.
We had an interview lined up with somebody in Iced Earth, and then January 6th happened. So there's that.
Well, but that's behind us now.
Look at Jamie. These guys recorded their tracks on their mobile phones too. He's mocking me. I want to touch on this one.
He's mocking me.
My biggest doubt about God is that he is not a respecter of persons. He has favorites and he doesn't hide it. And I feel like, why am I trying to please someone who's not pleased by anything I do?
Aww.
That's a good question, and the answer is obvious. The answer is God does not want to relate to you, Lisa, as a judge to a defendant or as a boss to an employee. He wants to relate to you as a parent to a child. Now, does God play favorites? Absolutely. I don't know why people... That's what I love about Lisa. Like, this shit is just raw.
Yeah. She even quoted the scripture in there, too.
It's clear. The text says that God has a chosen people. That Abraham was chosen out of all the peoples of the earth. The question is, Lisa and everybody else, why does God play favorites? And the answer is because God likes to use us to save us. You say, what in the world? What kind of sophistry? What kind of sophistry is this? I wasn't saying that. Perkinos is saying that because Perkinos uses words like sophistry. But in Genesis 12, I think we have the code or the cheat or the hack, Lisa, for when God plays favorites, why he plays favorites, okay?
Here goes.
When God chooses people, why he chooses them, etc., etc. Okay? So here's my best crack at it. So here's God talking to Abraham, and of course, Abraham is kind of the leader, right? Abrahamic religions, mm-hmm. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. This is God's introduction to Abram. Leave your country, your kindred, your father's household, go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So God's conspiracy is all of the world has gone off and worshipped other gods. Everybody's turned their back on me. I've given them all those other people over to those other gods because I've been constantly pursuing them, and nothing I do, whether I give Cain mercy or whether I flood the earth, nothing I do will get them to listen. So I'm going to hand all these other nations off to these other gods, but I'm going to take this guy for myself. I'm going to bless his socks off in the view of all these other surrounding nations, and I am going to save the world through this guy. I'm going to save other families through this family, because notice how God puts it, because God, he has to default to being a father because that's how he is and he can't help it. He says, through you and your seed, mm-hmm. right, all the nations, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Okay, so God's conspiracy when he chooses people is because he wants to bless people universally. There it is right there. I'll make your name great. You'll be a blessing, right? And all of the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So you see that right there. Families, plural. So he's not just talking about blessing individuals. God is blessing people at the family level. Okay? So that's what I would say. Now, does God play favorites? Yes. And I would say that the people, God tells us the people who are his favorites. Okay? And I think it's something, Lisa, you might want to think about. Do you have any words for her?
No, I think you're going on a good track here.
Okay.
I think.
Go ahead.
When the question was initially asked, I always like feel that panic moment with those questions because I never feel like I can like articulate it well. So I was like, but I think you're doing very well, babe. Carry on.
Okay.
Trying to find a verse.
Well, I've got it. It's Isaiah 66:2. And if you want to be one of...
They've always said, like, when one person asks a question, that there's at least 10 other people. We're in a big channel right now, so there's going to be many, many other people. So I'm very glad you asked this question because I think there's a lot of people that would want to know the answer to this question.
Okay. So God says, all these things my hand has made. So he's basically saying, I'm a big deal. I created everything by myself. I don't need anybody's help. I'm a big guy. However... And so all these things came to be, declares the Lord. But this is the one to whom I will look. She who is humble and contrite in spirit and trembles at my word. Those are the three things. If you want to know if you're one of God's favorites, very, very simple. Are you a humble person? Humble simply means that you know you're not God. That's all it means. Humility doesn't mean, oh, I'm horrible, I'm terrible, I'm worthless. Stop it. That's not humility. Humility is, I'm in the image of God. There is nobody that's ever been like me before, and there'll never be another Vinny like me ever again. That person might say that's arrogant. All of that is sustained by my original Father in heaven. And he made me what I am, and my big brother Jesus made me what I am, and my caretaker Holy Spirit, who has committed himself to me, is making me better than I am. But the way so the humility comes in as I'm a created being. I'm completely dependent on the Trinity for my progression, my advancement, whatever. But simultaneous to that, like Piper said, we're dust, but you're glorious dust. Subhanallah. So you see here, just be humble. Contrite in spirit means that when you do something wrong, you feel bad about it. And you understand that you offend God because your spirit is a part of you that connects with the supernatural. Right. I understand that I've offended God and I'm sorry for it. But notice, the next line isn't, and a person who completely reforms all their behavior. That's not the next line. The next line is, and trembles at my word. And trembles at my word simply means that you take what you see in the scripture seriously because you really believe that the God who spoke the world into existence also spoke that book into existence. That's what it means to tremble at the word. It'd be like, all the UFO stuff we all went through 3 months ago. And if one of those ships landed at 5 p.m. and it was on the news, everybody would be tuning in. And you would have a mixture of terror and unbelievable curiosity and fascination. Yeah. That's what God means when he says, tremble at my word. Realize that this document is an interdimensional document. Okay? We've been talking a lot about how this whole world is an illusion. And the physical world is an illusion from a scientific perspective. And so that book is sort of the conduit between the two worlds. And it's also what's going to refuse them back together. So that's what it means to tremble at God's word. It just means to take it seriously. So be humble simply means know that you're a creature. Be contrite, which simply means know that you've offended God. And tremble at the word, which is understand the amazing gift that you've been given. And if you do that, then you can know, Lisa, that you are one of God's favorites because God explicitly says it. Now, how you feel and reality are not always the same thing, right? So just because you feel as if God doesn't look with regard at what you're doing doesn't mean that that's true.
Timmy Collins, in my humbleness and humility, I know that I am one of God's favorite. That seems strange to me in a statement.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do this at Bible studies,
he
right?
He does all the time.
I'll say, I don't just say I'm one of God's favorites. I usually say he loves me more than you guys.
The kids were like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that's from his perspective, guys. He believes God loves him.
Well, that's what I believe.
Right.
Yeah. But again, if I were to say I'm one of God's favorites because he looked at me and he said, I'm so awesome, then yeah, that wouldn't be humble because I'm not recognizing my creatureliness. But if I say God loves me more than he loves you, and he probably does. That's not because I'm more awesome than you. It just means that God is gracious, and he's just decided to shower that on me. You say, well, why did he choose you and not somebody else? I have no idea. I can tell you definitively what it's not. It has nothing to do with me. But he does love me a lot. So there's that. All right. God must really love me then. Oh yeah, of course, Jambi. Of course God really loves you. I mean, hello. He gave us to you.
Yeah, he gave his favorite to you.
To you.
Now you're in his favorites band.
So obviously he loves you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That went really, really long. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.